Betelgeuse found in Orion's shoulder is one of the most fascinating things in space. This red supergiant is nearing the end of its life. Back in 2019, people noticed one of the brightest stars in the sky start to fade. For months it got so dim that people wondered if it was dying. When scientists pointed their telescopes at it, they saw proof of the dimming. It's thought that Betelgeuse might explode as a supernova soon, which would be the end of the star's life. But when will this happen? And could it be bad for us? This bright red star, also known as Alpha Orion, sits on Orion, the hunter's upper right shoulder. Even though it's not the brightest star in the constellation, Betelgeuse still gets a lot of attention because it changes a lot and has a cool name. Usually, the Alpha star is the constellation's brightest, but Betelgeuse is famous because it's big and red. It's one of the most well-known stars, ranking as the 10th brightest in the night sky and easily seen in North America, Europe, and Canada. Its title comes from Arabic, meaning the giant's armpit, which is where it's located in the constellation. Betelgeuse loses about 1 solar mass every 10,000 years, sending stuff out in all directions and forming a nebula around it. This nebula is massive, 30 times the distance between Earth and the Sun and 250 times bigger than the star. Inside, Betelgeuse merges hydrogen to make helium, giving off energy. As the hydrogen runs out, it starts using helium, then carbon, and finally neon to make iron. However, iron fusions don't make energy, so the star collapses and explodes as a supernova. Stars shine in different colors based on their age. Ancient stargazer Tommy said Betelgeuse was ready, but early Chinese observers thought it looked yellow. This could mean it was once a yellow supergiant. Big stars use up their hydrogen fast, so they don't last long, maybe only 10 million years. Betelgeuse is definitely in its final stage. Our Sun is around 5 billion years left, but Betelgeuse could explode any time. Betelgeuse goes through cycles of getting brighter and dimmer. One cycle lasts about 5 years and goes on for 100 days. This is probably because its outer layers expand and contract, which changes its size and surface temperature. People got really interested in Betelgeuse when it acted strangely in 2019 and 2020, dimming a lot before getting bright again. Some scientists think this could mean the star is about to die. People have studied Betelgeuse for a long time, but why it dimmed remains a mystery. It is moving fast through space, about 30 kilometers per second after being thrown out of its birthplace in the Orion OB1 group. This group is home to the stars in Orion's belt. The area in front of it stretches over 4 light years. It's hard to measure red supergiants like Betelgeuse because many things get in the way of knowing how big it is. Since it's a pulsating star, its size changes over time. This, along with the dimming of its edge, makes its color shift and weakens its brightness. The stuff the star throws out also affects how we see it. Looking at Betelgeuse is tricky because its visible size changes depending on the wavelength. Measurements can change by up to 35%, depending on the light used. Back in July 2009, the European Southern Observatory shared images taken with a telescope that revealed a huge plume of gas reaching 30 astronomical units from the star's surface. This was just one of many mass expulsions from Betelgeuse. At least 6 events have happened around Betelgeuse, which may help to know how stars get rid of mass before they die. The processes in Betelgeuse's upper layers are confusing, and we don't know how red supergiants lose their matter. These stars are important for spreading elements in galaxies, and astronomers are getting closer to solving these mysteries. In 2019, scientists using the Hubble Space Telescope found that Betelgeuse had blown off a large part of its outer shell. The Sun does this, too. But Betelgeuse's events were much bigger, throwing out 400 billion times the mass of a regular solar mass. This is why Betelgeuse dimmed so much in October 2019. By mid-February 2020, it had lost almost 3 times its brightness, going from magnitude 0.5 to 1.7. By February 17, 2020, its brightness had remained steady for over a week, seeming to stop the dimming. However, these dimmings weren't due to a core collapse since nothing changed in infrared radiation. Feel free to share your thoughts. When Betelgeuse explodes as a supernova, it will be one of the biggest space events ever seen. Even though it's 640 light years away, the blast will be so bright that it could outshine the full moon and be seen during the day for weeks. Experts think the supernova will release more energy in seconds than the Sun will. In its 10 billion year life, the light from the explosion will travel through space and reach Earth as a brilliant point of light, very unique. But don't worry, we're safe. Even though a supernova so close sounds scary, Betelgeuse is far enough away that the explosion won't affect us. It will just be a great scientific opportunity. In recent years, Betelgeuse has gone back to its normal brightness, but its strange dimming patterns are still being watched closely. Scientists are using telescopes like the James Webb and Hubble along with land-based tools to track its light activity and mass outflows, which show how unstable the star is. One idea is that Betelgeuse dimmed a lot because of a huge cloud of stardust that blocked its light from our view. Understanding Betelgeuse can help astronomers figure out the life stages of big stars, especially those about to become supernovas. This could help to guess similar things in other galaxies, explain how elements grow in the cosmos, and detail how elements like iron and gold form and spread through space. Betelgeuse is like a slow-motion cosmic clock. It could explode tomorrow, next year, or in 100,000 years. But when it does, it will give us a sight and a bunch of scientific info that we've never seen before. Knowing about the lives and deaths of stars like Betelgeuse is important for understanding the universe. Big stars create heavy elements. When they die as supernovas, they spread these elements into space, enriching the clouds around them with materials for new stars, planets, and even life. Betelgeuse's upcoming supernova is a rare chance to study such an event up close. Most supernovas are in far-off galaxies, so we can't see them well. But with Betelgeuse in our own Milky Way and relatively close, astronomers could watch every part of the explosion with detail. This is exciting for those studying neutrinos and gravitational waves. When a star turns into a supernova, it releases neutrinos and may make waves in spacetime. If Betelgeuse were to become a supernova, detectors could catch this data, giving new info about stars and the basic forces of the universe. Astronomers watch Betelgeuse closely, not just because it might die, but because it can teach us about stars. Red supergiants are the least understood stages in a star's life. They're big, unstable, and hard to model. However, new space telescopes are helping to change that. But there are still questions that Betelgeuse might help answer soon. Betelgeuse is moving through space at about 30 kilometers per second after leaving its birthplace in the Orion OB1 group. The resulting shock wave is spread beyond 4 light-years, measuring red supergiant stars like Betelgeuse is tough because it's hard to get its size right. Also, it's a pulsating star, so its size changes. This, along with the dimming of its outer edge, makes it change color and brightness. The stuff it throws off also affects how we see it. Looking at Betelgeuse is tricky because its size seems to change depending on the light we look at. Back in 2009, the European Southern Observatory showed pictures taken with a telescope exposing a plume of gas shooting out from the star. This gas blast was one of many seen from Betelgeuse. These events might help answer questions about mass ejection, which could be key to their explosion. The processes in Betelgeuse's outer layers are puzzling, as is how red supergiants lose their stuff. These stars are important for spreading elements in galaxies, and astronomers are inching closer to figuring it out. In 2019, scientists using the Hubble Space Telescope and others saw that Betelgeuse had blown off a big part of its outer shell. Well, the Sun throws off solar mass ejections. Betelgeuse were way bigger. This explains why Betelgeuse dimmed so much. In October 2019, by mid-February 2020, it had lost almost 3 times its brightness. By February 17, 2020, Betelgeuse's brightness had stayed pretty steady for about a week. It seemed like the dimming had stopped, but the changes weren't tied to a core collapse, as there were no big changes in infrared light. When Betelgeuse finally explodes as a supernova, it will be wild. Even though it's far away, the blast will be so bright that it could outshine the full moon and be seen during the day for weeks or months. This supernova will release more energy in seconds than our Sun will in its whole life. The light from the explosion will race to Earth as a super bright. Don't panic. Although a supernova sounds unsafe, Betelgeuse is far enough away that it won't hurt Earth. Instead, it will be a cool scientific moment. Betelgeuse is back to its usual brightness, but its dimming patterns are being watched closely. Scientists use fancy equipment to track light changes, convective activity, and mass outflows to figure out what's going on. One theory is that the dimming was mainly caused by a big cloud of stardust blocking the light. Understanding Betelgeuse could help astronomers understand where giant stars are in their lives, especially those about to go supernova. These details could help predict similar events in other galaxies, explain how stuff enriches the cosmos, and detail how elements like iron and gold are made and spread. Betelgeuse is like a cosmic timer that's winding down. It might explode soon or in 100,000 years. There's no knowing. When it does, it will be an awesome sight and give us tons of data. Understanding stars like Betelgeuse is meaningful because it helps us understand the universe itself. Big stars create heavy elements. When they explode in supernovas, they scatter molecules into space, enriching areas with the building blocks for new stars, planets, and even living things. Betelgeuse's upcoming supernova gives us a unique chance to study such an event up close. Most supernovas happen far away, limiting what scientists can see. But with Betelgeuse in our own galaxy and close by, astronomers can watch every step of the explosion and its aftermath with amazing detail. The potential observation is something that many people are interested, particularly those studying neutrinos and gravitational waves. Also, people are watching Betelgeuse because of what it can teach us about stars. Red supergiants are very far away, though is why it is hard to study.